Welcome to E&E Weekly. This is the Tuesday edition. Our top stories for today: oil prices has once again risen as there are indications that demand was recovering following the good behavior of OPEC Plus members. The compliance with a production cut deal ALLAY fears that new coronavirus infections could further slow the global economy. On the other hand, the coronavirus pandemic and the resulting oil price crash set to wipe out as much as $1.8 trillion from the revenues of oil and gas exploration and production companies this year. And still on COVID-19, long-awaited petroleum industry bill delays again as a result of the pandemic. And Nigeria's crude oil reserve hits 36.89 billion barrels, while its natural gas reserve is at 203.16 trillion cubic feet. And on power, Alhaji Saleh Maman, the Minister of Power, reassures that Nigeria currently maintains regularly power supply at 18 to 24 hours daily. And moving on to environment, the federal government steps up environmental sound management policy and takes action on disposal of polychlorinated BIPHENYLS. We will be back after this short break. I am Joycelyn Elakeche Ada. Oil prices rose on Monday as signs indicate demand was recovering. OPEC Plus members were complying with a production cut deal, and this has outweighed fears that the new coronavirus infection could further slow the global economy. Brent crude rose 96% or 2.5% to trade at $39.73 per barrel. Prices rebounded from early losses after the energy minister of the United Arab Emirates voiced confidence that OPEC Plus countries, which have poor compliance rates to agreed cuts, would this time meet their commitments, and reported signs oil demand was picking up. Analysts observed that the situation seemed to take away some of the market's negativity. An OPEC-led monitoring panel will meet Thursday to discuss whether countries have delivered their share of output reductions. Iraq has agreed with its major oil companies to cut crude production further in June, while Saudi Arabia has also reduced the volume of July loading crude. It will supply at least 5 buyers in Asia. Also positive for prices, China's crude oil throughout in May rose to 8.2% from a year earlier as independent refiners increased processing to meet the recovery in fuel demand following the easing of lockdowns. Still, fuel demand concerns have continued to weigh on market sentiment. Economic data from China suggested the world's second biggest economy was struggling to get back on track. Germany's economy output will also fall further in the second quarter, its economy ministry said yesterday. And latest figures show that the coronavirus pandemic and the resulting oil price crash are set to wipe out as much as $1.8 trillion from the revenues of oil and gas exploration and production companies this year. This is worst hit sector in terms of dollar revenue. The critical and expensive nature of oil and gas extraction in terms of revenue, OPEX and CAPEX, means that the oil and gas sector dominates lost revenue projections, accounting for $1.8 trillion of lost revenue globally in 2020. According to analysts, this is 6 times greater than the impact on the more visibly affected retail sector. It is reported that globally, the COVID-19 pandemic is set to destroy as much as $5 trillion in revenue for corporates. We will take a short break, and when we return, NNPC reports Nigeria's crude reserve hits 36.89 billion barrels, while natural gas reserve is 203.16 billion cubic feet. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is E&E Weekly. According to the latest report from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Nigeria's crude oil reserve has hit 36.89 billion barrels, while its natural gas reserve is 203.16 trillion cubic feet. This figures has placed Nigeria amongst the top 10 countries with largest gas reserves in the world. The Group Managing Director of NNPC, Mele Kerry, disclosed at a Washington-based Atlantic Council webinar. Nigeria still remained an attractive destination for foreign investors in the oil and gas sector. Let's take a look at this report.
No deliberate attempt to explore for gas ever in this country, because that's not the focus, because two things were lacking. One is there's a clear visibility towards a local market, a domestic market, which is not visible to investors. And secondly, the entire gas investment framework, the fiscal framework of gas is not very clear. And until you sort these two out, investors are not going to put their money, and therefore you are better off, and it's cheaper for you to produce oil, clear the gas, because that's not what you are looking for. But today there are initiatives to combat those flares by people who don't have interest in the oil to get that done. There's an ongoing engagement to take out all the flares, but we are not going to stop being at that. The focus we have now is to deliver gas into the domestic market and then monetize the entire gas portfolio that we have. And we are seeing investors taking interest in this. We are seeing the opportunities that are there. So the issue around flare will simply fade away because it won't be there anymore. As I speak to you now, there's an ongoing process of selecting partners who will take out the flare, take out the gas at the flare side. And beyond this, we're also engaging people to make sure that we start looking for non-associated gas. Today, every gas that you're seeing came as a result of looking for oil. But we're going to start looking for gas in this country. We already have non-reserves that we can develop. We also know that there are big opportunities that are there in the deep water because the fiscal environment also is not clear in the deep water. That's why nobody's putting his money into that. We are pulling a package. That package is to make sure that there's clear visibility, there's legislation that will support this. There's a commitment by the political class and the government to make sure that we deliver on this. The combination of this will ensure that these flares will go out. You don't need any big strategy around it. Make sure that people can put their money and get benefit out of it. And that's what was lacking. Today, there are issues around bottlenecks around putting your money into gas, into the domestic market and recovering your money. That are being resolved, particularly around the power sector. The power sector is very complicated today because the transmission systems are weak, distribution systems are weak, and we know that government is doing something about the bottleneck in that. And one that is the bottleneck, and we can have possibility around the end user, the consumers will pay for it. Then, of course, you will see the investment on the gas from the upstream will come. And these are all working at the same time. I'm very sure this is going on today. And ultimately, it is a balanced business environment that will create the opportunity for gas player to go away. Gas player is an abnormal thing. Nobody does. The amount of gas that we play here is unbelievable, but there are efforts today to get that out. Beyond just putting some fees on flaring. That's not attractive. That's cheap. People can do that. But what is possible is that can you convert that to money, and that's already happening.
The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Mele Kerry, says the long-awaited petroleum industry bill has once again been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic. Marlon Carey said the PIB bill will not be passed by the end of July as was planned, but may be passed before the end of 2019 as lockdown restrictions to contain the spread of the coronavirus in Nigeria have pushed the timetable forward. The petroleum industry bill encompasses of everything in the oil sector in Nigeria, from oil licensing to the share of oil wealth that stays in the Niger Delta region, and several companies say they await the passing of the bill before investing into Nigeria oil sector. Marlon Carey also disclosed that the government is close to announcing a deal to build a 200,000 barrel per day condensate splitter, and that it would partner with private companies for the money and the expertise to fix its own ailing oil refineries and pipelines. He acknowledged that previous efforts to fix the refineries, which were totally shut down in April, were buggered, but said he was confident Nigeria could soon produce all the fuel it consumes in the country. And moving on to power, the Minister of Power, Mr. Saleh Maman, has assured that the entire country currently enjoys between 18 to 24 hours of power every day. Engineer Maman, who spoke in an interview with the Nigerian Authority, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration had improved the infrastructure and the power system. The minister further assured that power supply would further improve as more power plants had been completed by the current administration. He also remarked that the coming of Siemens AG, a German company, into the system will guarantee constant and consistent power supply. He stated that the president has come out with presidential power initiatives, which is known as the PPPI, to ensure that all infrastructure are improved. Many substations, according to him, are now in place across the country. The minister said that the government was trying to make electricity supply constant and affordable, and emphasized that the country would reach energy generation of up to 112,000 megawatts per hour for the first time. Mr. Maman added that before now, the country had less than 3,000 megawatts of capacity generation, but as of today, the country can generate up to 5,500 megawatts capacity, but all cannot be transmitted due to some constraints. Mr. Maman noted that the Siemens would align the entire sector to ensure that generation, transmission, and distribution are properly coordinated. And still on electricity, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, says Togo, Niger, and Benin Republic owes a total of 32.4 billion naira for electricity bills. Next, the astounding figure is for electricity supplied to the three countries in 2019. Nigeria supplies powers to these countries, which are classified as international customers in the Nigerian power sector. The Commission disclosed that these three countries owes electricity supplied through its Electricity Transmission Company, TCN. According to the latest data from NERC, Niger Power Firm, Societe Nigerian Electricity, failed to pay a total invoice of 3.1 billion naira it received in the first quarter of 2019, 3.69 billion in the second quarter, 4.1 billion naira in the third quarter, and 2.07 billion naira in the fourth quarter of 2019. Benin Electric Company, a power firm owned by Togo and Benin Republic, did not pay 9.74 billion naira for the power supply to it in the first quarter, 7.16 billion naira in the second quarter, and 2.27 billion naira in the third quarter, and did not receive any invoice for the fourth quarter of 2019. Next said in its latest quarterly report that during the quarter under review, the special and international class of customers made no payment to the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC and the market operator. The federal government has continued to engage the governments of neighboring countries benefiting from the export supply to ensure timely payments for the electricity purchased from Nigeria. And still on electricity, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission is set to sanction 7 distribution companies over their alleged failure to comply with the Order 197/2020, which placed limits on estimated bills that can be issued by DISCOs to unmetered customers. The regulator said Benin, Enugu, Eko, Ikeja, Kano, Kaduna, and Port Harcourt DISCOs have up to this Friday to explain why they should not be penalized over their alleged non-compliance. In the order, which took effect on February 20th, 2020, NERC had said it cancelled the estimated bidding methodology regulation as a basis for computing the consumption of unmetered customers by DISCOs. The Commission said all unmetered R2 and C1 customers should not be invoiced for the consumption of energy beyond the cap stipulated by it. You should know R2 customers are residential customers who consume more than 50 kilowatts an hour in a month with single-phase and three-phase lines, while C1 customers are small businesses, also single and three-phase lines. The agency explained that a consumer of a DISCO resident under R2 single-phase tariff class has an energy cap of 78 kilowatts an hour per month and a tariff of 42 naira per kilowatt an hour. The maximum that a DISCO can invoice such a customer is 78 kilowatt an hour at 24 naira per kilowatt an hour, which equals to 1,872 naira per month. It said all that other customers on higher tariff classes must be metered by DISCOs no later than April 30th, 2020, adding customers will not be liable to pay any estimated bill issued if the DISCOs fail to supply meters. The agency said the customers shall remain connected to supply without further payment to the DISCOs until a meter is installed on the premises under the framework of MAP regulations or any other financing arrangement approved by the Commission. And Nigeria and Israel are set to sign a bilateral agreement on methanol fuel production technology. The preliminary agreement was struck when the Israeli ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Shimon Shoshen, paid a courtesy visit to the Minister of Science and Technology, Mr. Ogbonnaya Onu. The minister said Nigeria is determined to explore and develop the methanol chemical fuel technology, as it is a key to economic diversification drive of the country. Methanol fuel is an alternative biofuel for internal combustion and other engines, either in combination with gasoline or independently, and it's less expensive to produce. Mr. Onu said for Nigeria to create more employment opportunities and more wealth for its citizens, the country will have to become the manufacturing hub of Africa, as it must utilize all its natural resources and add value to them. The minister observed that methanol is a wonderful chemical and its application would impact positively on energy and manufacturing sectors. And while speaking, the Israeli ambassador, Mr. Shoshen, remarked that methanol fuel is a better alternative to petroleum as it is cheaper, faster, and pollution-free, saying his country is willing and ready to share its expertise with Nigeria or methanol fuel technology. According to Mr. Shoshen, Israel will also learn Nigeria's indigenous technology and its progress in the oil and gas sector. Both government officials therefore agreed to work together to make the ethanol technology available in Nigeria soon. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we will move to environmental matters. We'll be right back. Welcome back to E&E Weekly. The federal government has inaugurated a committee for environmental sound management and disposal of polychlorinated biphenyls, known as PCBS, in Nigeria. The Minister of Environment, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, said the committee will seek to minimize the risk of exposure of Nigerians and the environment to harmful effects of PCBS. The Minister of Environment, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, said polychlorinated biphenyls, known as PCBs, have been used for centuries as electrical conductors due to their chemical stability and electrical properties.
Due to their chemical stability and very good electrical conductivity, PCBs have been used for almost a century as coolant and insulating fluids in electrical transformers and capacitors, flame retardants, stabilizing additives in PVC, that is polyvinyl chloride, coating of electrical wiring and electronic components, among others.
However, he said scientists have proved that PCBs represent humongous threats to human and environmental well-being.
Nevertheless, bodies of scientific evidence have revealed for over 50 years that this characteristic that made PCBs popular additives also represent humongous threat to human and environmental well-being, irrespective of creed or caste. For instance, apart from being associated with burdens of diseases such as damage to the immune system, liver, skin and reproductive system, the International Agency for Research of Cancer has also classified some PCBs as Class 1 carcinogens, meaning cancer-causing chemicals.
Dr. Abubakar said the main duties of the committee is to stop the usage of PCBs in Nigeria.
What they are supposed to do to make sure that we achieve these two objectives of one, no new usage, no production. Anyway, lucky enough, we don't produce PCBs in Nigeria. These are all imported. So that's one good thing. But their job is to make sure that no production, no new usage, and that wherever PCBs are, in equipment or whatever, in Nigeria, have been removed and taken to a dump site and treated, and so that Nigeria can be PCB free.
The minister charged members of the project board/steering committee to demonstrate a high sense of national patriotism, integrity, and responsibility towards actualizing elimination of PCBs and associated burdens of morbidity and mortality in Nigeria. Joycelyn Elakeche Ada, ASO Television News. Residents of FCT have been urged to commence intensive planting of trees in their communities. The Director of Parks and Tree Maintenance in the FCT Department of Parks and Recreation, Rifkatu Abdulaziz, made the call during an environmental awareness campaign and tree planting exercise at Sabo Karmo in Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC. The director admonished stakeholders to learn more about trees and contribute in healing the earth to reduce the effect of deforestation and help restore healthy living environment in the territory. A non-governmental organization, Purple Hands Empowerment Initiative, in partnership with AMAC and FCT Department of Parks and Recreation, undertook the environment awareness campaign to remind residents of the need to stop the habit of deforestation and start replanting trees in their communities to avert unnecessary disasters. The founder, Purple Hands Empowerment Initiative, Brenda Max Unduagrigbe, advised residents to always replace felled trees with better and environmentally friendly species, as well as join campaign against tree felling for commercial and domestic purposes. She disclosed that the initiative and its partners planted no fewer than 70 trees in the community in commemoration of this year's World Environment Day, tagged Biodiversity, All Life is Important. The chief of Karmo, Umar Gurney commended the NGO for planting trees and distributing food items to vulnerable women in the community. He assured of his people's commitment to nurturing the trees and taking ownership of their proper care. And that's our package for Tuesday on E&E Weekly. Thanks for joining us on the program. I am Joycelyn Elakeche Ada. Bye for now.